we have increased that financial year nurses who are at 9,816 to 15,000. And we are continuing. I know even this year many counties are hiring more nurses. Doctors now stand at 3,786. In fact, what we are experiencing now in some crucial sectors, we need, in the training of medical personnel, we need to look at the national program of training, because we cannot even get some of the experts we require to run certain specialized services. And this is where we require synergy and working together with the national government to be able to provide. Expenditure for procurement of drugs has increased by 40%. 40%, but I'm told now, actually, in this financial year, it has increased by over 50%. Looking at the current statistics, 50%. Where are those drugs going? If there is this crisis we are being told about in the media in the health sector, because the health sector is sensationalizing a localized problem somewhere and trying to make it look like it is a national problem. If there is a small problem somewhere, that needs to be addressed instead of trying to sensationalize it and try to make it look like there is a national crisis in the health sector. These are actually hard statistics provided by the national government through the National Health Demographic Survey. This was not done by the county government. It was done by the national government. I could go on and on in giving examples. If you go to the health sector, you can see we have expanded AI services. Most counties have reduced even the cost by half of the provision of AI services that are improving the breeds in our sectors. Extension services have been expanded in many counties. Irrigation programs have been done in Wajir, in Mandera, in many other counties. The milk sector is being expanded in many counties in central Kenya, in western Kenya. If you go into cooperatives, many circles and saving credit organizations have been started all over the county, all over the country. I could go on and on, setting out the milestones that county governments have made. But these milestones have not been without challenges. Despite the annual resource allocation to county governments having increased since 2013-2014 financial year, we still insist that the increment should be formally anchored in law to reflect the equitable share. We have worked out the costs at the national level of functions, and we have worked out the costs of functions also at the county level, and functions at the county level, and we have determined that anchoring in law at least 45% of revenue collected nationally, that would be adequately serve county government in terms of providing in terms of providing money to fund county functions. I also would like to note among the challenges that there are many functions that are still devolved, but yet not allocated any money. And the key among them is the roads. Over 40,000 kilometers of roads were devolved this financial year. But looking at the bill, the finance bill that is pending in the Senate, there is no money allocated to provide funds to be able to give services, to provide services for this crucial sector that is a backbone for rural economy. Therefore, we are asking the Senate, when it is looking into this bill, to look into the road sector, to provide money for it, to look into the libraries that have also been devolved, to provide money for running of community libraries that are being devolved, and also to look into the museums that are also devolved to immediately provide for for those resources. The other challenges, which I would want really to summarize because of time, the other challenges that have been facing devolution, apart from the problem of resource allocation. And resource allocation is not just lack of adequate resources to fund counties. It's also very slow disbursements of resources to counties when they are needed. Indeed, if you look at the current disbursement, you will find that many counties have received the January allocation. February, March, up to April, no disbursement has been done. And we are asking that whereas it's useful to adopt technology, if technology is an impediment to quick service delivery, then we need to look into it and see how we can improve it to make sure resources reach the needy people in the counties whenever they require them, and in good time for them to get timely services. The other major challenge we've been experiencing since actually devolution is the continued passing of legislations that are geared towards whittling down devolution. And there are many examples. The most recent one being the water bill, which we are looking into, that is again attempting to take away functions that are entirely county functions and taking them back to the national government. And many other legislations that I'm sure, and during this conference actually is looking into all this to see the way forward in dealing with some of these impediments to long-term entrenchment of devolution. The other key challenge, which is becoming now quite apparent and it seems to be accelerated, is the national agencies that were supposed to be restructured to hand over functions to counties are now being reinvented and being renamed. And I can give you an example. For example, renaming of the National Water Pipeline to National Water Storage Authority. National Water Conservation and Storage Authority. There another institution that is called National Construction Authority. When you see an authority, one being introduced called authority, beware. Beware of these new minted institutions that are being renamed. They are being renamed without any restructuring to camouflage as if they are doing national functions, when actually what they are doing, they are trying to take over county functions. The other biggest challenge we are experiencing right now, and this is really critical, and I would want the Senate and the national government to take note, because this is something we have discussed and we had some agreements, but there is no implementation, is the issue of channeling of conditional grants. The current practice, which is unconstitutional, is to channel money that are meant for conditional grants through national ministries. If you look at the Constitution, there is nowhere in the law where money meant for counties, whether conditional grant or otherwise, is supposed to go through national agencies before the money reaches the county. The money is supposed to go through the national treasury directly to the counties, and then the counties are supposed to account for that money through the accounting agencies, accountability institutions that are there. The National Treasury, the National Audit Office, the county assemblies, and to a very small extent, the Senate. I am looking at the law. I am not... there is a certain level of where Senate is also involved in accountability, even though they have been expanding that mandate to include many others, but they have also that accountability framework. So what we really require is, can we have fidelity to the law so that the resources meant for counties follow the law when they are being sent to the counties? And we are not being fussy about this for any reason, for no reason. What happens when money is sent to the ministries? The money delays before it reaches. There are a lot of bureaucracy. And if you look at, even currently, you see a lot of money stuck in the national agencies that should have come to the county for service delivery that is not coming. Because ministries are also trying to be relevant by holding that money. They want to look powerful. They want to look they are in control by keeping that money and making it very difficult for that money to reach the county. So we are saying again, let us follow the law when we are channeling resources that are meant for counties, especially this money that is called conditional grants. The other important point in relation to this conditional grant is the mistake of classifying donor money as conditional grants. There is nowhere again in the law where donor money is classified as conditional grants. Because the Constitution is very clear, conditional grant is money given from the national government in its chair to its chair of the national resources to give a certain service with certain conditions. So donor money cannot be classified as conditional grants, and we need therefore to correct that so that money that is meant for county functions from donors is also directly channeled to the counties for quick service delivery. And as of now, if you look at the current situation, a lot of donor money is stuck at the national level and is not able to reach counties to be able to provide crucial services that are supposed to be reached there timely. And there is a lot of frustration in the donor community because of these roadblocks that are making it very difficult for them to take the resources there. And the other critical challenge that I don't really want to take a lot of time, but this is a key, is the division of revenue bill. And especially the current one, and I think even the previous one and the future ones. There is a serious breach in the current division of revenue bill of Article 203 of the Constitution. Article 203 of the Constitution provides there are certain things that you must provide for before determining share of revenue. And it is very specific on those particular issues you need to provide for before determining a share of revenue. And the key among them is what is called national interest. There are certain national interests that you need to provide for money before you determine what you are sharing between the two levels of government. The other key element is the issue of national obligations. Those are the two key areas where you put in money in advance before determining what you share between counties. Now, national interest has been defined, and correctly so, by the CIC in their legal, in their determination, and even the reading of the Constitution. National interest does not mean national government interest. Because the drafters of the Constitution could have said so if they meant national government interest. But national interest means some of the most important obligations that stabilize the country, issues of security, and all that. And that's why, rightly, it has been determined that the youth issue, youth empowerment, is a national interest. And we agree. The only trouble we have here is that when the current bill was done, it is only money meant for national youth service that has been factored in the bill to take care of that particular national interest. Yet counties are also running youth polytechnics, and therefore when you are determining national interest in empowering youth, you must also put money meant for counties there. You determine it in advance so that before you determine share of revenue, you have taken care of that aspect of national interest that is being managed by county governments. The issue of national obligations. National obligations, of course, means providing money for national constitutional commissions, pensions, those national obligations that must be met. National debt, those are correctly national obligations. But if you are determining a pension, you cannot determine only pension for one level of government. You must also provide pension for workers of the county at that level. So to the extent that that bill again is not addressing this particular issue of pension for county workers, it is unconstitutional because it is treating with discrimination county workers who are also in public service and serving this country. The issue of CDF, and I don't want to go into the issues of whether it's constitutional or not because the courts have determined that, and the courts will still determine again because people are still challenging that. But assuming it is constitutional, assuming, which assuming, it is a national fund. It is a national government fund. That is what it is called. It's a national government fund. Therefore, you cannot put it as one of the national obligations to be deducted in advance of determining the share of revenue. So when you are doing like that, what you are doing actually, you are making county government to contribute to CDF. Indirectly, actually not indirect, directly, because you are deducting money which counties should share in advance into the CDF kit. So since it's a national government fund, we must determine the share of revenue, set aside the national government money, and then deduct CDF from there. Like we are deducting the youth fund from there, like we are deducting the women fund from there, and like we are deducting all other funds from there when we have already determined the national government revenue. Those are the key challenges I wanted to go into to see, to be able to provide some ideas on what we have been facing as we go along with the conference. But I want to just take 2 minutes to also talk about some of the myths that are being spread everywhere, that are geared to once again giving devolution a bad name. And I think these myths, sometimes either people are doing it deliberately or maybe not understanding the law or whatever, but they are myths that we need to dispel in this conference. Key among them that I hear everybody talking about is the idea that counties receive money from the national government. National government has given you money. What have you done with it? I want to tell you that we don't receive money from national government. The only money we receive from national government is what is called conditional grants. That is money from national government. But the revenue we receive as shared revenue is not national government money. The Constitution talks of money collected nationally. And money collected from everybody. And the citizens of Kenya belong to everybody. All taxpayers don't belong to one level of government. So the resources counties receive do not belong to one level of government. And I think we need to disabuse ourselves of that notion so that one level doesn't feel that we should be grateful, as if we deserve our existence from. We are a creature of the Constitution just like the national government, and we are legitimate. We exist legitimately, and we are entitled to national resources shared nationally by institutions that have been created by law to share that resources equitably between the two levels of government. Now, there is another story that has come up, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday. That's the Council of Governors as an illegal fund. Somewhere created, I don't know, counties contributing to it. This notion is very difficult for me even to explain, because how can budgets that are done at the county level, 12 fund Council of Governors, which is a constitutional body, a statutory body created to coordinate functions at the national level for county governments. How can resources, intergovernmental resources, provided by county governments, and already the law provides the intergovernmental acts that county governments provide resources not just to the CONG, but even other entities that we may create, other intergovernmental entities that we may create, like the economic blocks that we are creating. How can funds provided by county government to fund those kind of institutions be termed illegal, slash funds, I don't know what. I think there is need for some education on this particular issue so that people can quite properly understand that the CONG exists by law, it has functions. Many of them of coordination of county government at the national level. In fact, what we have are very many challenges because we don't have enough resources to give the CONG the capacity it requires to be able to carry out its statutory mandate. So there is no illegal fund anywhere created by anybody. And they did. That's why we even want to thank the donors for continuing to support the CONG to carry out its mandate and the counties. The other issue I would want to quickly mention is the idea that counties are too many, and then there is a Punguza Musigo campaign. It is a sneaky way of dealing with the counties. And this one I think will be debated in the counties, but we will get experiences from Slovakia. How many states do they have and what is their population? We'll get from Namibia, to us to be able to compare from points of knowledge to see whether really our counties are very many. At 47, when you have 50 million people, I think we can look at that and see whether that is a major issue. What we require is really the downsizing and the reduction of some of the costs that are necessary to be able to fund the counties. There is another issue that has also been put forward, that CIC is not there and therefore we have a problem. CIC ran its course. Its term ended. What is left is for Parliament itself to make bills that it required to pass to continue building on devolution. I don't think we need another commission. I really don't see that lacuna that is there that require this commission, and maybe that's another matter also for debate. And the last myth that I want to dispel, there is this attempt to personalize county governments. When you are referring to county governments, you talk about governors. We have given governors money. Governors are never given any money. Money is given to county governments. And that money doesn't belong to a governor. Governor is an officer in the county service. So that money is usually given to counties, and I would really want us to continue saying counties, because at the national level, you never say you have given money to the president when you are giving to national agencies. How come that you never say that you have given money to the president? When there is a problem in the county, maybe it's, some ethical issues, you say the governor. Yet the governor is also a CEO, and there are many agencies and bureaucracies serving him. I'm not saying governors are angels, they may not have problems, but I'm saying let us not continue personalizing county governments. When there is a problem at the national level with youth fund or whatever fund, you never say the presidency. You refer to that particular institution that has a problem. When it comes to county government, can you also refer to the particular department that has a problem? Why the double standards? Why the double standards when it comes to dealing with counties? I really want to conclude there. But as I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to thank all the institutions that have contributed in one or another in this journey of devolution that we have walked for 3 years. And significantly, I would want to laud the judiciary for the sterling job they have done in protecting devolution in very difficult circumstances. They did. I would like to thank the end of the judiciary, Dr. Willie Mutunga, for his steadfastness and for standing up to support county governments to thrive and to be entrenched and to survive under some very, very difficult circumstances. That we hope that kind of support will continue because devolution is still very young. We are only 3 years old. What we require is more of nurturing, positive criticism, capacity building for us to grow the country. But saying this doesn't mean that we don't need to deal with issues of corruption. Obviously, corruption must be dealt with at both levels of government. And the truth is, the national government controls most of the accountability institutions. The national government controls the Anti-Corruption Commission. The Senate is at the national level. The auditor, the Office of the Auditor General is at the national level. The Treasury is at the national level. The only institution, accountability institution, which is at the county level is the county assemblies. All the other institutions are controlled by the national government. Can you make use of them to deal with this problem? County governments are also dealing with this problem at their own level, and I know there are many examples we can give on what county governments are trying to do to make sure that wastage, deal with wasted efficiency is there, taking action on whoever as unethical practices at the county level. What we have always pointed out, and really we would want to continue pointing out, is let the anti-corruption war not be used as a witch hunt or as a targeted war on particular individuals, depending on their political persuasion, or maybe they are not very friendly or whatever. Let the war be objective. Let it be, the institutions be autonomous to be able to do their job, so that the war can be credible, and then it can be able to get the support that everybody needs to give it. But we have seen as Council of Governors that we are always committed, and we would want to continue working, to continue improving service delivery and making sure that resources meant for citizens of this country are actually utilized for that purpose for which they are meant for.